Hi stamping friends, Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. Got a question for you. Do you hoard your designer series paper, or DSP like we like to call it? What about your embellishments? Do you like buying those fun little doodad embellishments and then you hoard them? Well, I have a project today that is all about using up our designer series paper and using our embellishments. It's a super quick and easy card idea that you can use with any papers, any embellishments, any ribbons. The whole idea is to show you something that's a very quick and easy card that you can just mass produce using up all of that designer series paper that I know you're hoarding, because I do it too. So we're using it up today. So let me go ahead, flip the camera down, and let's show you the card idea that I have for you. And like I said, you can use it with any of your papers. So hold on one sec, let's flip you down. Okay, are you ready to haul out your designer series paper and start using it and make a whole bunch of cards? Well, today's project uses a stamp set that I bet you've never even taken a look at, or if you did, you flipped right past it, because it's on page 11 of the current annual catalog, and at first glance, we don't see it. We feel like it's part of this project kit to learn how to do calligraphy, which, sorry guys, I'm not learning how to do calligraphy because I know I would be horrible at it. But the stamp set is marvelous. So let's just ignore what it's called, Calligraphy Essentials, because we're gonna just use this as a stamp set. Now, what I really like about it is these words are big, and I'm always looking for big words, especially when I wanna do a whole bunch of cards, and especially when we're trying to use up that designer series paper, because it just makes it so super simple. So we've got the celebrate, hello, smile, and thank you in here. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to make one card for you, and then I'm going to show you a whole bunch of different ones that I did using a whole bunch of different designer series paper so that you can just see how it looks. Same idea, different papers. Now, there's a couple of things that you're going to need to make these cards. Not only do you need the stamp set, but I highly recommend you use the Whisper White thick cardstock for this. When you don't do a lot of layering, you really want this heavier cardstock so it's not, too flimsy like the regular Whisper White is. Now, with this, and especially if you're folding it the way I am, where we're cut 4 1/4 by 11, you want to score before you fold it. So we're gonna just go ahead and use Simply Scored here. We're gonna score at 5 1/2, and then we can go ahead and put this out of the way. Now here's where I scored. It's left an indent in the paper here, or cardstock. That, our natural tendency is that indent goes in the inside. Well, it doesn't. We want to flip this over. We have a ridge we can feel here, and that is the way we fold it. And that will give you that nice crisp fold up on the top. Okay, I have the thank you from that stamp set already mounted on a block, and we're going to use, and I always open it up to be flatter here, and we're using Poppy Parade. I also have a blender pen handy, because we're going to take the cover off, because as soon as we stamp, I'm going to grab the blender pen and color in a little bit. Let's see, we want to try to get this somewhat straight, more towards the bottom, but leave about an inch-ish or so. And then after you've stamped, take your blender pen, and I am just going to smear over this. Now, you don't want to spend a lot of time, and really one pass suffices. With this Whisper White, it's not really designed to take anything wet very well. So if I was sitting here and scrubbing and trying to color this in with the blender pen, it would really kind of fuzz up the paper. We don't want that. But did you see how fast I just pretty much wrote over it? It gives me that nice little splash of watercolor look on there. Okay, for the card I'm making today, I'm using the Needlepoint Nook Designer Series paper. Now remember, we can use any paper, and the key is really just to pick an ink that coordinates with the paper that you're using. I've already cut a strip that's 4 1/4 wide, so it's as wide as my cardstock is here. But what I need to do now is just take a ruler and measure from my fold down to, let's see, it looks like that T, and figure out how I want to cut this. Looks like 2 3/4 should do it because we don't want to cover up our words. So then I can just grab my paper cutter and, like I said, 4 1/4 wide, and we're going to come out here to 2 3/4 and cut a piece off. And that we can adhere then right above the thank you. So let's go ahead and do that. The Tombow liquid adhesive is my all-time favorite. Don't need very much. Okay, make sure as you're rubbing it, you can hear this. Okay, that means you're not getting too much, because if you're too high where it's gooshing out, then it's going to you'll get way too much on there. And then when you go to lay this down, it's gonna warp your paper and slide out the edges. Okay, now we're gonna do the exact same thing for the bottom. So that bottom of the Y looks like 1 inch should do it. So we can grab the same strip of paper and we'll go ahead and just, oops, actually we can measure the other way here, go out to the one there. So I have a 1 inch piece and we'll just double check. Yep. And now you can make a choice here. We can either put it this way or we can flip it. Actually, I think I'm going to flip it. So let's have the Poppy Parade side showing. Now, one of the reasons I like this adhesive is when I lay this down, it'll slide a little bit, so I can slide it around to get it exactly where I want it. We'll smooth it down. Now, sometimes we don't cut things perfect. I never do. You can see here how my paper's hanging out just a little bit. Not a big deal. All I do is I come back to my cutter here, line the edge of that white up, and then I can trim off any extras that's hanging over the edge. So there is most of the front of my card. The next thing I'm going to do is take some baker's twine. This is the old olive. I like to give myself plenty. This stuff, guys, these spools, you get so much on it. It's very inexpensive. It's probably my favorite things I like to use is the baker's twine. Not only for the cost, but just because it doesn't add a whole lot of bulk. So I tend to double it. And then we're just going to wrap it around and tie a bow. Now, someone told me this years ago, and I think it does work better, is tying your bow upside down. To be honest, I don't know why, but it tends to, I guess, make your tails hang better. Actually, I love the curl in this stuff, so I tend to leave these long. So there is the front of the card, and then on the inside I always like to add just another piece. So we can take our strip here and we can go, we'll do about 1 inch, and then if you really want to, you could actually do 1 inch piece and a 1/2 inch piece and then flip one of them. So let's put the flipped one down at the bottom. So now, like I said at the very beginning, you can use any designer series paper for this. But that's why I love this greeting set, because it will work. Oh, let's see, I think my glue's almost out here. Oh, there we go. Any paper, any color, and if you have a ton of paper you need to use up, you could spend a whole day just making cards like this. Looks like I need to trim that off a little bit. But then I'm going to also grab the other stamp that comes in the stamp set that says, I think you're great. And you know, we always put words up here. With these, I was having fun kind of putting it down towards the bottom. So there we go. You know what? Let's trim off this because the OCD in me cannot stand that hanging off the side. There we go. And there is our card. Now, at the beginning, I made a comment about not hoarding your designer series paper. The other thing people tend to hoard are their embellishments. Here's my box of embellishments, and I have a little bit of everything going in here. And so for this one, I think we're going to take these flowers, and let's go ahead. I like to use my piercing tool, and we're going to just grab a couple flowers. I like to do everything in threes. I don't know if that's a design thing I learned many, many years ago. Odd numbers, I guess, is best. So there you go. Quick and easy card. Thank you. I think you're great. Now let me show you all the other ones that I made. Like I said, I was working on using a bunch of my designer series paper up. So each one of these uses a different designer series paper. This one I forgot to use the blender pen on it, so it's a little bit crisper, which is fine for the style of paper here. But notice each one of these just has different embellishments, different ribbons. I coordinated, you know, ribbon and ink for the different papers that I have. I like the alligator one. So like I said, super simple card layout idea that will work with anything. Just make sure you use that thick Whisper White to give your cards some substance to it. And then there's the hello one. So hopefully you like this idea. I will have a list of all the measurements and the key supplies over on my blog post. You'll find the link down in the video description. And I'll have pictures of all of these cards for you as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I come to you with quick and easy stamping videos at least 3 times a week. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and need to order any of these supplies so that you can stop hoarding your designer series paper, hop on over to my blog, and I truly appreciate it when you pick me to order your Stampin' Up! Products from. So until I stamp with you guys again, have a stamp happy day.